Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, UFC edition. Today we have a massive episode for you guys. Today we got the UFC MMA expert, Mr. Chuck Marlowe, with us. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Just I think like every other MMA fan right now. I'm excited,
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
feeling good.
Hey man, that's what I love to hear. We're gonna get right into it, Chuck. We're recording on the Wednesday. This past Monday, we had a major UFC deal happen that was announced to the public on Monday, the start of this week. UFC rights in the US are going exclusively to Paramount in 2026. A number of UFC events will be available at Paramount Plus subscribers and no additional fee. As UFC moves away from the pay-per-view model, it's looking like a 1.1 billion average annual value for 7 years, according to TKO 8K's filing. So obviously, Chuck, before we get your thoughts, this is what Dana White said. This historic deal with Paramount and CBS is incredible for UFC fans and our athletes. For the first time ever, fans in the US will have access to all UFC content without a pay-per-view model, making it more affordable and accessible to view the greatest fights on a massive platform. This deal puts UFC amongst the biggest sports in the world. The exposure provided by Paramount and CBS networks and this new structure is a huge win for our athletes and anyone who watches and loves the sport. Chuck, what the heck, man? What was your initial reaction when you saw that UFC was going to Paramount?
I think like anybody else, like it smacked me out of nowhere. Like it smacked me in the face, and I was like, "Damn!" Like I wasn't expecting to hear that today.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew from stuff that I heard before and seen, I didn't think that ESPN was really liking the way that Dana was operating, and they didn't like kind of how everything was working with the UFC. And I mean, he kind of like, you know how Dana is. He's not going to put a leash on his fighters, as he said, word for word. He's going to let them do what they want to do. Plus everything else. I know Paramount still falls under that umbrella, but I think overall I think what was I got to look at the deal. I forgot what the deal was with ESPN, but if you look at the numbers, I know it was significantly smaller than their deal right now with Paramount, but that's the big thing. It's money. You know, who's going to be the highest bidder and who's going to give that money? And I think that's ultimately why it came down to that. But and plenty of other reasons that we'll get to. But oh my goodness, I don't know. I was excited. You know, when you hear you don't have to pay for pay-per-views again, for most people who are sitting there having to spend like $80 for fights, you know, and most people can't afford that, you know, like some people are living paycheck to paycheck, you know, they don't have that extra $80 expense, you know, every now and then to be able to buy the fights. So, I mean, I know everybody was streaming. You don't have to worry about laggy streams, all that other extra nonsense, figuring out how you're going to watch a fight or going over to a buddy's house or going to a bar to go drink. You know, if you got Paramount Plus, 19.99, $30, we'll see what they end up making the monthly charge rate for that if they move it, which I'm assuming they will.
So Chuck, I
But
got
you know,
that. I got that stuff for ESPN for you when you're ready.
no, I bet.
So this was back May 23rd, 2018. ESPN and UFC agreed to a 5-year deal that'll bring mixed martial arts entire package to ESPN in 2019. The entire rights package would cost 1.5 billion over a length of a 5-year deal, according to ESPN. So that was the whole deal back then, and now they're going to get that a year at Paramount.
Obviously, you have inflation since
Hmm.
2019. But still, I mean, you think about it, you're going from 1.5 billion over 5 years to 1.1 billion per year.
Yeah.
That's a huge jump, tremendous jump. And that's huge. You want to know who that's huge for? The fighters.
Mm.
You already know what everyone's talking about now. You gonna pay your fighters, Dana? You gonna pay your fighters? You got the money now. There's some money. Obviously, you gotta have to work with other things, booking venues, you know, all the other different expenses that goes into paying people. There's all those other numbers. but you have a lot more wiggle room to deal with now. So there should be no excuse to as why the fighters aren't getting paid what they deserve.
This is really wild, man, because obviously TKO owns both UFC and WWE. In the past 5 days, they moved WWE's pay-per-views got moved to ESPN for 1.6 over 5 years. And then they moved the UFC package to Paramount for 7.7 over 7 years. And it basically eliminated pay-per-views for good in the USA. So I think, Chuck, like you already said, for a lot of people, I mean, this is going to be the easiest way to watch these pay-per-views because let's just admit it, the ESPN Plus way was terrible. It was
Yeah.
bad, man. You had to pay for ESPN Plus, and then you still had to pay for the fight once you clicked it, already have it ESPN Plus. I think that was the biggest knockoff. If you just paid for ESPN Plus and had the fights like you're about to in
And then there was
Paramount.
usually a lot of extra shit that went on with buying
Mm-hmm.
those fights because some people buy the fights and you don't get the access to it or it's not popping up immediately and you're having issues getting immediate access to it. And
Yep.
then sometimes you miss sometimes most, if not all the fights. And then you had people with laggy streams. You had people dealing with issues with ESPN, like just glitching. Because like I had an instance before where like I bought the pay-per-view and then like I'm on my phone and then like I'm on my thing. I'm trying to pull it up and it's like, well, you need to pay for it. I'm like, I already paid for it. What are you talking about? You know, you got to restore. Like it was a whole loop you got to run through sometimes. And it's just a hassle on top of what you're already paying monthly. And then you got to pay for that too. It's just like, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just like you're not making it any easier for anybody. This is why people are streaming the fights because you're making it's a lot easier to access stream a fight and watch it than it was to actually pay for a fight and watch it.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. And it's just going to be so much easier as of right now. Like right now, compared to the prices right now, in 2025, it would cost just an average Joe a price of $1,160 to watch all the pay-per-views on ESPN Plus. While currently, right now, without prices, it only costs you $120.
Insane.
So that's just super wild to say the least, and all of that. But this is going to be crazy, Chuck. A lot of UFC fans, and on the flip side, I do get it from the fact that another streaming service, for a lot of people who watch sports and all that, we were just talking about like the WWE one on the WWE pod, so people are gonna have to get ESPN Plus and all that. But now people, I don't know that many people who even have Paramount Plus, but now I know a lot of people are going to get it because it's a cheaper way to watch UFC.
Yeah, I had Paramount Plus. That's how I was watching Dexter. You know, they
Mm,
took it off of Netflix in the middle of the season,
hmm
and I had to end up going over to Paramount. Plus, I had Paramount for they have a bunch of kids shows on there, so kids love Paramount. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Y'all moving right over to something I already got. Just don't up the monthly thing too much.
hmm Okay, okay. So that's cool. So Chuck, just future casting now. UFC 324 is going to be the first numbered event on Paramount Plus in January 2026. Who the heck? Who the heck's gonna headline that card? Because you got to start big.
Yeah. So
Who?
that's the thing.
Mhm.
You got to start big. Your first event on Paramount, the first event that everyone's going to see, it has to be a banger, right?
Right.
Who has everyone been wanting to see fight for a while now? This is a two match, and I'm talking about from people who are wishy-washy. I'm talking about from fighters who are actively fighting and actively putting in good work. There are two fighters everybody wants to see fight, and they've been moving around weight classes, and one of them's been knocking out everybody's favorite fighter. Islam Makhachev and Ilya Topuria. That's the only fight that will make sense. It's the right amount of time almost to give them some time to train. I guarantee they probably already been on the phone talking about it and discussing, and they're already training. I hope that's the fight that gets booked. It may be something else. Don't be upset if it's Alex Pereira and damn what Ankalaev fighting again. So that could also be happening. A part two of that fight, Alex Pereira lost his first fight. You might not make that a rematch for the first fight that you guys have on there. Or shoot, why not have them both?
Yeah, I agree. Chuck, is there a way that is this where we get the return of Amanda?
You know what? I think that that would be a perfect place to set that up. I don't know if they finally came to an agreement. I know that they're set to fight. Like those are the two that people know are going to fight. But I don't know if they've come to any contractual agreement yet, or if they've even started the talks for that. If they have, then yeah, I think that's another segue. You can push in Kayla Harrison and Amanda, but I don't know if it's going to have the same hype that those other two fights would have, just because Tapiera is on a run right now, and
Hmm.
he is undefeated, and his stock is high.
Hmm.
Islam's stock is high because he's been tearing through everybody, and he's still a bona fide fighter and hasn't really been beaten by anyone in who knows how long. So that's one that everybody really wants to see because Islam was taking out everybody's favorite fighters for a while. Now, um, Islam and Ilya, sorry, those are very similar names. Get tongue tied on the head with that one. But yeah, then Ilya, now you guys have on the contrary, who's over here knocking out everybody's favorite fighter. It's like, man, okay, which one of these two are really legit? Who's the better fighter out of that weight class? Nobody knows because they haven't seen them fight yet, which is that's a question mark. People like question marks. If they don't, there's something they haven't seen before, that's something they want to know. Now, obviously, no one's seen Amanda and Kayla,
Hmm.
but I just don't think it would sell the same as those two names because their names are like right now what's going on. And if you want to bring in some casual fans too, those are two names you want to throw out. Some people are going to know who Amanda is, but not every single casual knows who Amanda is because she's been out of the game for a while.
Right. Right. No, I get it. I get it. We'll see, man. We'll wait and see on that. And
Yeah,
then
I'm
just
interested to see that one.
just a quick thing of the pay. I mean, this is in the U.S., so obviously it looks like overseas we'll still have pay-per-views and things like that. But
Yeah, he did. Dana did say there will, of course, be some one-offs and stuff like that because you can have. He said, I forgot where I saw it, but I remember he did say there will be one-offs. There will be still some pay-per-views where you're going to have to pay.
yeah, so we'll see
Money
how it
hungry,
goes. Money hungry, yeah. But we just wanted to shout out with the pay-per-views, Conor McGregor, because you remember he had the 8 straight $1 million buy pay-per-views.
which is
So
insane
that run was crazy. But of
because
course, go
John
ahead,
Jones
Chuck.
never
Go.
touched. It's crazy to me to think about that still with Connor. 8 straight million buy pay-per-views. Like John Jones didn't even touch that.
Well, I don't think John was. I don't even know if John was he wasn't as consistent.
He
But
wasn't.
at the height of at the height, like not when he was like coming up, but like at the height of his stuff, like with
Yeah, he
Connor
wasn't coming
stuff.
out every 4 months.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember because I mean that's when where I formerly used to live at. Like I would drive down to B-Dubs and be there Saturday nights for pay-per-views.
Locked and loaded.
That was like the I don't want to. I would say I know more now than I do back then, but that was the height of my UFC watching during his run because I felt like there was a whole bunch of other people there coming up too. You had Connor, you had Ronda, you had Nunes coming up, Holly, Usman, all these people. Yeah, man, I used to
I
beat
would think of
ups.
that era as a golden era for
Hmm.
UFC. That was
Hmm.
definitely a golden era. That was one that paved the way into what we are now.
Yeah. So now, I mean, it's a lot easier now because if it is Paramount, and we'll see like the 12.9, it's like, say, hey, someone log into Paramount Plus, you can have it's easier to have a more fight night party and those accessible prices.
For sure. Oh, hey, man, we want to buy Paramount Plus so we can watch the fight. Oh, it's 19.99. Oh, yeah, bro, just chip in $2. You got 10
Mm-hmm.
people, chip in $2.
Yep.
Boom, $20.
Yep. And then you
Like,
can see.
and like
Mm-hmm.
that's this is insane. It's easy.
So we'll see that. Chuck, and then anytime UFC announces a big thing, random fighters come out the woodwork, like, oh, Paramount, now I'm gonna have to come back making more money, things like that. Dana has been going on a tear. He has gave on a White House update. He wants to host the first ever White House event on July 4th in 2026. So now they're partners with Paramount Plus. He wants it to be live on CBS, which means that'd be free for anyone who has an antenna or things like that. And of course, all these people are coming out the woodworks. And he says he's going to meet with the president this week to talk more about that pay-per-view for America's 250. Only Dana would try something crazy like that. Chuck,
Huh.
you got all these people saying, I want to come back and fight the White House will be on. I know we talked about it a little bit last time, but now it's picking up more steam, especially with this Paramount deal. Who would you want on that card?
I know who I don't want on that card. Two
And
people who are itching to be on it.
yeah, both, both who are.
I Who would I want to see on the White House card? Michael Chandler for sure. That man is America as it get. Bryce Mitchell just because he's as America as he gets.
They're gonna put Kobe.
Kobe for sure because
Probably
he's
gonna,
as America as it gets.
and he's gonna lose too, because that's I feel like all he does.
I mean, hey, you know what? Everyone in America be rooting for him to lose. That's the thing. And you know what? That's the thing. That's the thing that Dana knows. He knows his fighters that aren't liked. And he's like, man, I'm gonna put them on a card against somebody tough so people want to buy in to see him get knocked out. And so if he could get Kobe on there, he probably would put Kobe. Kobe and maybe Jorge. Bring him out of the woodworks. But no, if I really had to think of like an actual title fight though that I would want to see on that, oh man, I don't even know who I'd go to. Because, like I said, none of these belts are being held by Americans. That's the thing. Also, none of these belts are being held by Americans. So, who are you going to put for a title fight that is an American? And you're celebrating America, and all of your champions are from different countries. All of your champions, besides, you want to know who? Kayla Harrison.
Yeah,
Now, Kayla Harrison, man, Nunes for the 250th.
okay.
Now that's something I could see people because she's from Brazil too, Amanda Nunes. So I mean, I guess you can throw a little bit of like they're going to be chanting USA in the crowd and everything. So maybe I don't know. I think that's the only one that makes sense right now at this moment because no one else is holding a belt for the USA, and none of the number one contenders besides flyweight is from the USA and bantamweight because Sean O'Malley's USA, and then Joshua Van, he's from Hawaii, technically, it's technically Polynesian, but it's part of the US, so he's an American.
Okay.
But there's really no one I would really want to pick besides Kayla Harrison right now because she's an actual belt holder.
Yeah, agreed. We'll wait and see on that. It'll be here sooner than we know. But I mean, first we got to see how. I guess we'll know the landscape once we see this first pay-per-view on Paramount. I feel like it's going to get big, big numbers, like coming off of Christmas. I mean,
Oh,
you can get people a Paramount Plus, like those little gift cards, like, hey, you like
yeah.
UFC? Here's a first month free on me, like
Shoot,
stuff
and if
like
it
that.
stays cheap, people could be like, "Here, look, I'll just do the annual subscription."
Yep, yep.
People, you know what? That annual subscription might cost what an old UFC pay-per-view event would be.
Hmm.
$80.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could see that being a deal they
Yeah,
pitch.
I could see myself do that too, because now it's like, oh, now I'm guaranteed I could just watch any UFC thing I want. I could just watch that. Oh yeah, like now, and then it's gonna get all of the library too. So then it's easier for you to rewatch
Dude, and that's the best
UFC.
part. Like I still have UFC Fight Pass.
Hmm.
And I'll go in there and I can watch all the old fights. I can go through archives and I can pull up fighters and I can pull up their individual like fights and I could go through and watch all their old fights. And if they add that catalog to there, I can get rid of UFC Fight Pass. Fuck that. I'll get rid of it right now if they do that. When they do that. And that's going to be amazing because then so many people can learn about the history of UFC. You can go back and watch some of the old fights you hear people talk about. And there's so many different like ways that you can get way more into this. You can watch it from the ground up. Shit, I know they have on UFC Fight Pass, they have like UFC 1 on there. They have some of the old ones like Boss Root, and they have some of the ones with the open palm striking when they were in shoes, where there's no weight classes. Like they have so much that people could get into and learn about this sport. So I think that would be great for people learning about the sport too, just having that full fight library.
Yeah, man, I agree. And even from us, from a podcast perspective, if we like the things that we do on the NFL one, because we have NFL Plus being able to replay and like dissect plays and stuff, hell, for your career, you'd be able to maybe live stream replays and like say, oh, at this moment you knew he was going to lose because you're able to rewind it back and like, oh, because he threw this punch at this time. So it helps content creators as well.
Yeah, and I think that would be great. The only thing I would have to worry about is copyright because I don't know what they go. UFC do be on some whole shit about copyright and stuff, just like anybody else. Now, if I do live stream like on Twitch or something, I don't know. They probably Twitch don't like me, so never mind. But that is a great idea.
I think you'd be able to, like, if you're just not, if you're talking over it, pausing and stuff like that, you should be fine.
Yeah,
Not just
compared
like,
to
oh, I'm
like
gonna sit there and just let it play. That's where you're getting a little,
yeah, that's where you're like, all right, you're just putting a full fight out here without anything else.
So that's what you don't want to do with that. Chuck, man, we actually, real quick before we go to 2019, Ariel was on the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul. Got to talk about this because it involved John Jones. He says Jones asked for about 30 million to fight Tom Aspinall, and that the Saudis got involved to make the money happen. Ariel says John didn't think they would come up with that number, and they did. He said yes, and 2 days later, he said he's out. Thoughts on what Ariel said? Because I mean, Ariel's as plugged in as anybody.
Yeah, it ain't looking good for John. Everything, every report you see come out, everything, single thing you look at about this and how that whole negotiation went down,
Hmm.
no matter what the source is, everything has looked like John just said, you know what, whatever, I'm ducking, I'm not fighting. The image that they're painting is that ducked and he, I mean, if you get a bunch of people saying the same thing, it's hard to go against it. And then also, like, it's something that would be very believable because John has done this before in the past where he's asked for a certain amount of money, then he's gotten it and he's taken it. But it's really not looking good in this instance because of the fact that they probably did come up with that money and he's just like, nah, I'm good. Like that's it. It frustrates the most fans because, if you want to call yourself the GOAT and you're going to put yourself on this pedestal, go perform and be that person on that pedestal. Don't back down from it. If it don't matter, fuck the money. At this point in your career, you have the fucking money. I
Right.
understand you're putting your life on the line, and I understand you're trying to not sell yourself short, and I understand that you are the top fighter in MMA. Who gives a fuck? You're the top fighter in MMA. Go show it. Who cares? Something like I miss when fighters are hungry. The
Hmm.
best fighters you will get are hungry fighters. Fighters who don't have shit. Fighters who don't have nothing. Fighters who don't have a belt. Because you know what? They want to get to that top spot and they don't care what you're giving them. They will take scraps and they will sit there and just fight. And John lost that. He lost that part of himself that just wanted to go out there and fight. It's all about the money, just like with Connor and shit now. Like it's the same shit. It's I want to get paid. And then for this one, for this instance, for you to get that money shows you don't really care about the money at this point. Don't know you have the money to live a well lavish life off of endorsements and everything else. So he's shown where he's at and he's just checked out. I don't really want to defend him in this case anymore. I was trying to be like, all right, maybe like he's just like, I'm done. I want to hang with my family and stuff like that. Like, but if you're making these demands and you're just turning shit down, like that's on you.
Got no more to say on that. No more to say on that. Chuck, man, tell us about this UFC 319 card. Now that we know that Paramount's going to be the move in 2026, these next couple cards are going to be the last ones on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, so I mean, if y'all want to buy them, go ahead and buy them. I, I know where everybody else will be, but I mean, I think the last few cards that they're going to have here, looking around, and I know with USC 319 right here around the corner this Saturday, um, yeah, they're going to be based off the events that I saw looking when I was looking at the events for the rest of the year. You have, I forgot they already scheduled Uncle Live and Parade 2 for October 4th. So never mind to that opening up. Maybe the trilogy if Pereira wins. There you go. That
Mhm.
could segue. Anyway, yeah, 319 in August. You got 320 October 4th. And then I'm kind of looking to see where they fill those later cards
Mhm.
because you're not going to want to put like a super, super, super big fight like right before you have something new. So I'm interested to see how he shapes out these last few cards because you're not going to want to put your top talent, people you want to know you're going to have back in January fighting this close to the end of the year. So watch to see who gets scheduled, and that kind of might dictate based off the past 4 months who might get into that January card. But yeah, UFC 319 is pretty loaded, honestly. When for more and more I look at this card, it's a
Mhm.
good ass card.
Oh. What are some
From
of the
like
matches we should look out for?
from the prelims, one early one that I want to get into was I can't even think of his name right now. But first, I'll get into the other ones that I was thinking of. Chase Hooper versus Hernandez. I
Hmm.
think that's going to be a good fight. Chase Hooper has really changed his game. He is still very, 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 very young. I can't remember. I want to say he's like 20 or something now.
Oh wow.
He came into the UFC at like 18 off of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu background, and he only wanted to grapple in his fights, and he had no stand-up game. So he would get his ass beat because he had no stand-up game. But he worked on his stand-up, at least from what I could tell by the last fight I watched from him. And I'm really interested to see what he comes out with in this next fight against a better striker, but he still has a reach advantage. So I want to see if he really has worked on his striking, and I'm very curious to see how that goes. I'm trying to figure out how old he was again. I can't even remember, but yes, he's young. That's all I remember. Um, Another fight on this card that I was taking interest in was the Karine Silva and Dion Barbosa. Karine Silva is 11th ranked, but she's on the early prelims. Kind of sell the women fighters short, in my opinion, but that's besides the point. I'm really excited to see what she can do coming off her last fight. She
Hmm.
put on a great performance, and I want to see if she can try and bump herself up in the division and try and get from past that 11 ranking. So that way she can work her way into a top five ranking. She's going to have to put on a really great show. So I think she's going to be hungry, and I think she's going to really be out there to put on a show because they put her on the fucking early prelims also. Um, Moving over to the strawweight, Jessica Andrade and Lupi Godinez. Um, Jessica's coming off of a loss. I want to see how she bounces back. I want to see if she can go on another chance to go for a title against Sangwell Lee.
Hmm.
So I'm really curious to see if that is something that's going to happen. She's going to really have to work her ass off though in this next fight.
Hmm.
Lupi Godinez coming off of a win. She's no joke and she's no scrub. She's 13-5. I think that's going to be a very interesting stylistic matchup. I want to see if Jessica Andrade's strength is at that next level she needs it to be at to be able to take on a Zhang Weili.
Hmm. Okay.
Moving up to the main card, Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. I'm interested to see how Kai fights after having his debut fight be for a belt and he lost. So going against someone like Tim Elliott who has fucking hands,
Hmm.
it's going to be great. I think that's going to be a great fight. I think Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page is going to be a good fight. You have a heavy hitter versus a showboating, stylistic heavy hitter. I want to see if Jared Cannonier finds an opening in between one of Michael Venom Page's celebrations or dances and showboating and knocks him out. I think that might be how that fight works out. Geoff Neal and Carlos Prates, having one of those fight nerds on the card is always interesting. I
Hmm.
want to see if these guys can take over. So I'm excited to see his performance. I think he's going to go out there and try and put a knockout on Geoff Neal. And then you have Leron Murphy versus the guy making his debut, Aaron Pico.
Hmm.
Everybody's like, why the fuck is Aaron Pico a co-main event for his debut? I sent you that video a long time ago in the group chat of the guy of Aaron Pico when they signed him.
You did.
I think this will be a great fight. A great fight. I don't know how it's going to end, but I think it's going to be a great fight. Everyone lock in. I'm gonna tell you guys a bet right now to put on I would say put it to end it knockout. I think these guys are gonna go in there and throw hands. Um and you should put for them to win by knockout. I know it's a featherweight fight. I know people go usually featherweights don't have much strength to do knockouts, but these motherfuckers do for sure. And then you get to the main event. Driscus Duplessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. I think this is going to be a little bit of a high level grappling fight.
Hmm.
And most people think that they're going to want to strike, and Kamzat's going to want to show his striking to show that he's not a scrub and that he can stand up. But I think he's going to smart fight, and he knows he can wrestle, and he's not going to steer away from his wrestling. And he puts on a pace like no other. And I see Driscus Duplessis always fight so gas in these fights, and he's always throwing wild shit, and it works. But I don't think that shit's going to work with Kamza. I think he's going to tire him out and he's just not going to let up.
Hmm.
I think Kamza is so hungry for this belt and he's been hungry for this belt. I'm ready to see him get over that hump. Not saying that I'm rooting against Driscus Duplessis. I really want it to be a great fight either way. But I'm going with the favorite right now with the minus 180 on Kamza.
What round do you think that will be done?
I say round four, round three. I think he's going to put the pace on him and he's going to not let up. I think Kamzat can get gassed. Don't get me wrong. He can get sloppy and get gassed himself. But I think that he's pushing himself to be ready for this fight when it comes this Saturday.
That's all I like to hear. I love it. 319 this weekend. Chuck, you put some stuff on. You talked about the top prospects. Man, you already brought it up. Make it the debut on UFC 319 just 3 days after earning a contract.
So this one, that one is for the Be Sangur Surakav. So
Hmm.
yeah, he someone pulled out of a fight and he took a fight on 3 days' notice after just winning or fighting on the Contender Series on Tuesday. And then he just took a fight against somebody I can't even remember where it's at on here. But he took a fight for that 319 card versus Eric Nolan. Sorry, yeah. So the Eric Nolan fight, wherever that is on here.
How
Uh
crazy do you have to be to take a fight on 3 days' notice?
you gotta be somebody that's hungry.
Mm.
That's all that tells me. You gotta be somebody that's hungry and you were looking for opportunity. And hey, look, I respect anybody who takes opportunity when they see it. Most people wouldn't do it, won't take a fight on 4 days' notice because they're scared. They don't have proper training. But I mean, he was just fighting on the Contender Series, so he should be ready and in good shape.
Mm. Okay. All right. That's super. That is super interesting. And then you talked about what's going on with this Mike Perry, Jeremy Stevens for King of
It's the
Violence.
ex MMA fighter Jeremy Stevens versus Mike Perry for Bare Knuckle Fighting Club. I just think it's funny because it's two former UFC fighters, and I think it's going to be good. I think it'll be a good fight, honestly. I think Mike Perry puts on a good show, at least in the Bare Knuckle Fight Club and or championship. I said club. I think he puts on a good fight though, at least. And it's one of the most brutal ways you can watch this sport. But it's pretty if you guys get a chance to watch it, if you're not a squeamish person, go check it out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then Chuck, we're recording on the 13th of August. We are exactly 30 days away from one of the biggest boxing matches of all time, Crawford and Canelo. We are 30 days away from that, man,
Oh my goodness.
which will be on Netflix. So it's going to be a lot of people being able to watch it.
It's so exciting, honestly, hearing that 30 days away from Canelo versus Terrence Crawford. Like the build up around this fight has honestly been great. All the press conferences, all of the media outlets and tools and everything that I've been seeing so far for this fight has been building up this hype really, 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 really well.
Hmm.
So I just pray to God that this fight lives up to the hype. I pray that they go out there and they're not fighting hesitant and they're not trying to be protective of their image because I think them signing the contract enough was them saying, "Hey, look, I'm willing to not protect my image and go out there and have an L on my car on my record."
Hmm.
So I think that was enough. But sometimes when you get in there, it's a different game. You're trying to protect your longevity. You're trying to protect your image and your career. Because I mean, look at what happened to Errol Spence when he went against Terrence Crawford. He beat the brakes off that motherfucker, and ain't nobody ever looked back at Errol Spence the same.
Hmm.
He beat him so bad, everybody made memes, made fun of him, and it diminished his career because Errol Spence was looked at like, oh man, he's top tier. He's top tier. So look to see maybe if this separates that top tier list for one of those fighters. Because what I think whoever loses this fight does end up with a little bit of career altering, how do I put that? Career altering lost. I mean, I guess that's the only way I can put it. It's going to change your record. It's going to change your status as a fighter. That's only if they put it on you, though. Now, if it's a good fight and they both go out there and it's like, man, this is really close. It could go either way. I think that just solidifies both of their names. So I'm very interested to see how that plays out. That's my favorite part to see how that plays out for their overall legacy.
Yeah.
That's the word I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah. No, that's, yeah, because it's going to alter. I mean, if they both fight and it's like a very close, like 1 point decision, then people are going to want to rematch, things like that. If
Oh, for
one person
sure.
gets utterly destroyed, both sides are gonna be like, man, I told you Canelo's either too strong for Crawford. Oh, I told you Crawford's just too smooth a boxer for Canelo. That's gonna be the argument.
That's what I'm excited to see. I'm just excited to see these two go out there and just dog it out. I don't want them to hold back.
No, don't know. As we approach that, we'll get closer and closer to that and make some predictions and go over the fights on that card. We're 30 days away from that. That's gonna be crazy. Shoot, Chuck, anything else in the fight game, man? We covered some, obviously the biggest news in UFC history in some time with Paramount, the White House, 319. Anything else?
Um, Besides, I mean, we kind of highlighted it, but one thing that's annoying me is, well, I wouldn't say annoying me. John and Connor are back in the test pool.
Yes.
So maybe, maybe look for that in January. That's all I got.
Oh, for the first Paramount. Yeah.
Uh, Honestly, I could see it happening. And the more I think about it, that could be something. One of them doesn't get the White House. Pick and choose which one you want. That's what maybe I don't know. I don't know. That's something I that it, the them being in the test pool shakes things up a little bit. I have seen Connor sparring in the gym and it you don't look the same. But I'm interested to see how serious Dana takes that.
Agreed. Well, we'll see. With that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow our MMA expert Chuck on all social media platforms. Twitter, I know he said doesn't use Twitch so much, but Twitch, definitely YouTube. Make sure you check out when he's the commissioner of the L7C EA Sports College Football 26, because they're in year 26 now, Dynasty. be on the lookout for some of those games as they're winding down their first
Oh,
season in the new game. So you'll be getting some, hopefully, conference championships on the way, and look out for content from Chuck in all angles. And with that being said, L7C Podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.